Okay, so we're kind of sort of back here. Zach's putting his headphones back on. Big news out of Canada. Mark McMorris, Sparky, injured himself in the backcountry.
Yeah, man.
Big time.
Broke off. It sucks.
Broken jaw, broken clavicle, internal injury, I believe ruptured spleen, and I
They
think
call it a
fractured
stable pelvic.
fracture
Ugh.
too, something
Ugh.
like that.
Almost a year from that broken femur.
Yeah.
that.
So pretty sure his chances of going to the Olympics are now cut in half. Although he's saying that he's going to try for it, but coming back from an internal injury like that, where you've been airlifted and had to have emergency trauma surgery, I've done it. I have no spleen.
Wow. Whoa.
From snowboarding, so
I think I knew that, but that's rowdy.
yeah, that's rowdy. I mean, I basically died, and
Is that where the soul removal?
yes,
That was
when I became angry.
that was
They
that happened.
They just
They
fully
lifted it. They we'll
I was
take
just
the spleen.
I was mildly mad and perturbed beforehand, but afterwards I went full blown like feral anger,
Oh,
and
man. Well, that's maybe the issue. Like herein lies the idea of a big contest snowboarder. Like, will your soul for contest snowboarding die? How do you come back and want to throw yourself like?
that's just such a rough one. The mind fuck that he's going to be going through after this is huge. I know I went through it after my injury.
Yeah.
Where you just sort of wonder, you're like, because I was told I would never snowboard again, and
That is the worst.
And they told me I would be lucky. They thought I broke my back, and they told me I'd be lucky if I walked. I walked out of the hospital 9 days later, but I mean, I was in the ICU for 8 days, 7.5, 8 days.
Holy shit, Dave, that's gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, last helicopter ride I took snowboarding was Flight for Life.
Oh gosh.
It was a lot cheaper back then, though. It was only $5
And you had to spend some time out there, busted up in the backwoods, and then get airlifted.
No, I did it back in New York. I was actually in the base area. I got lucky. This kid was walking by and kicked me, and I didn't move. He rolled me over. They were able to get there, but I went from ambulance to advanced life support to helicopter to emergency trauma surgery, and they got me in what they call the golden hour.
Oh,
but Mark was lucky in the same way. He was out in the backcountry, which is
like
way
8
more
hours. They were just
yeah,
out there
way
cold.
more fucked. And when you have an internal injury, so when I did my spleen, I ripped it end to end, and it completely ripped it in half. I mean, there was no saving it. I looked at his photos, and it doesn't look like he has the scar that I have. So I don't know if they removed it or if they were able to get in there and clamp the bleeding down.
Yeah, Mark, he they built a kicker. He landed and veered into the woods and hit like a grove of trees. I gather. So
yeah,
it's
I think he
Wile E. Coyote just.
Yeah, I guess when he landed, he got bucked and was trying to ride it out.
Oh,
got kicked
God.
up sideways into him.
Oh.
I guess I keep hearing different accounts, so I'm not sure what to go with on this. But I mean, these internal injuries are nothing to fuck with. I mean, last year I got hit by that skier, and that put a tear in my kidney. And I pissed blood for about 2 weeks. That's part of the why I'm banned for life from Vail story. Because the dude hit me, smoked me from behind. I ended up. What's even worse is I didn't know I was like internally bleeding till that night when I was at I was at a Black Sabbath concert, and I was pissing in the urinal, and I'm just looking down and blood's coming out, and I'm going, oh shit,
oh no,
oh god, this isn't good. So, but just the level that these guys ride at. And, I mean, earlier this year when Jeremy Jones, Jeremy Jones, he got his legs broken in an avalanche out there in the backcountry. And I don't think necessarily that people fully understand what can happen out there. They get into this mindset of, oh, I'm going to go out with my friends and I'm going to have fun. And
we're going to build a kicker like these guys.
and shit happens out there. So, you want to be prepared. That's one of the reasons I'm a big advocate of telling people to get their fishing license and pay for the search and rescue bonus on there. So if you have to be airlifted out of the backcountry or anything like that, it will help you. But, it's good to have medical training. After my accident, I actually took an EMT level 1 course. I'm not current with it. I could take a refresher and still be certified, but I passed the test. I was an EMT. And so I have this understanding. So when
knowledge, helps you stay calm.
Yeah,
in
it does.
Situation.
Well, when I dislocated my elbow, I freaked out for about a whopping 30 seconds. And then it was enough for me to go, okay, my elbow is out of the socket. I need to go call ski patrol and get taken down in the sled because my arm is sticking 3 inches out at the elbow in the wrong way.
Well, everybody is saying that he's going to make a return for the 2018 Olympics.
Right.
Because he really, really wants that gold because he's been in 2.
Right.
And he didn't win.
This will be his second because we only slopestyle was.
Oh, okay, you're right. Yeah, we got
because unless he rode half pipe.
No,
which,
no,
because
this one would be.
This will be the second
right,
Olympics.
Right.
It's. I don't think Sage is even competing anymore. I think he's off hitting rails with Heldor or something.
Okay.
So.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, he went into the last one as kind of the guy to beat. He was winning everything.
Well,
then he has been winning everything this year.
Yeah, well, he wants to prove that Aaron's style was a fluke and didn't take him out. I mean,
well, is that when he broke his femur?
Yeah, that's the one where he got the second kneecap.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But so this year when he was just stomping everything, winning everywhere, I was like, he is like the best contest slopestyle jumper
right now.
Yeah, which.
But it's going to be interesting to see like how Max Perot or any of those other kids
and these young bucks,
right.
Mac and the Mayhem boys and Davis and
well, this year's been an interesting one too. A lot of foot injuries too. A lot of people breaking feet.
Oh, dude, you spin so hard and flip so much in that, like your feet are.
Well, I guess Chris Corning broke his foot again, and so right after,
really?
I guess over at World Champions. K-Mac, that super explosion at Copper damaged his foot. Stassel's got a broken, I think he broke his foot or leg. It's been a lot of leg injuries this year from people, and so it's going to be an interesting run-up to the Olympics to see how everyone deals with things.
The Olympics in 18...
in South Korea. I still believe little Kim up there in North Korea is going to fire a missile. What's a bigger fuck you to the world than killing all the Olympians in one? Although he might wipe FIS off the planet, which I would be okay with.
In one swoop, the aim for the board,
fuck FIS. just kill FIS, which I mean would probably be doing competitive snowboarding a favor. There's this great video right now that was on New Schoolers ski site where their guy actually straight up tells the competitors that they don't matter. All that matters is TV ratings and sponsorship, and that the competitors don't matter. Newsflash, you wouldn't have a contest if you don't have competitors. They're the ones that are the draw. I mean, no one's just going to sit around and watch a slopestyle course with no one hitting shit with advertiser
this
money.
This official was saying, you better jump now.
Yeah, they were trying to say it was like Dance Monkey Dance, which is...
like, we got all this camera gear, but the weather's not right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sketchy.
You know how it is. I mean,
it's sucky.
Dude, it's not one of those things you ever want to do. I mean, you know how it is. If it's flat-lighted, shitty conditions, you don't want to go hit a 60, 70-foot jump. You don't want to go ride a 22-foot super pipe.
No.
And FIS just doesn't care, so fuck those guys. Maybe that'll be the one good thing that comes out of the Olympics is Little Kim will kill them.
We should make, like, the Lil' Kim Pro Model coat. You know that tan number that he's always running?
If I could get one,
tan number.
Could I get one of those hats, like those fake hats, like with the troll hair, but with the Little Kim haircut? You know, I could just put that on and be him. Actually, there you go.
The shades.
That's what I should do next year for Do Tours. Dress up as Kim Jong-un and go up to Do Tour and just scream at people and be like, "Your emperor commands you."
You should go as a FIS official to Labor Day.
As Little Kim. A Little Kim FIS official.
Yeah.
Actually, that might be my Halloween costume this year. I'll just go as an FIS official and tell everyone that they don't matter. You don't matter. The only ones that matter are our sponsors.
All lives matter.
No
lives matter.
No lives matter. We're hurtling through space on a giant little globe.
No, all lives matter. Yeah, the ones before that we had and the ones to come.
So it was pretty funny though. But did you ever compete at any FIS events?
I did
You did Open, but that was before FIS. I think that was when I was still in Vermont, right?
I never did anything where I had to sign anything for FIS. I don't think so. No.
Oh, that's good. You never had to deal with those douche nozzles. Which I don't really care about them. I think they're probably one of the worst things to happen to snowboarding. Terrier was right.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how we see it on the back end now, and he was right.
He was right. I mean, the Olympics were great for exposing the world to snowboarding, but they were bad for the riders. I think that's part of the whole thing. Like, you look at contest riders and look at some of their sponsors. They don't have actual snowboard sponsors. They just they have like people that will give them money, and part of that is they're chasing this dream of. I mean, my roommate Dylan is a classic example. I mean, if he didn't have Rosenall, he really wouldn't have a true snowboard sponsor. I mean, he's got electric and function wear, but Rosenall and some of his friends are just sitting there going, "Yeah, I don't really have a board sponsor." I mean, that's how Weston ended up with K-Mac.
Yeah, I think it's cool that some countries in their Olympic pursuit will give some athletes a chance to like live a snowboard life, but it's kind of tough give and take. You know, like they get to maybe come here and train all year, training towards being an Olympic participant. You know, from a small country, and so that's cool that they are given the chance to travel and compete and stuff. But you do have to do it in a certain way. It's so much like music and like it's signing off to some big deal, and they want you to like sing this way and look this way and dance this way, and or you're doing your own music and not maybe.
I don't know. The thing is, like, with my friends and our friends and everything, because we're inside of a bubble where we are around professional athletes.
Yeah,
we
totally.
know Olympians. And stuff. And so we can see the struggle. And from the outside, you're like, I want to be. People will be like, that's so cool. They get to travel and they get to do this. And then, I mean, my roommate Dylan, he's trying to do the Olympic dream.
Contest
People
circuit.
don't understand that he works in the oil fields 100+ hours a week in the off season, and then he does that till about November. Then he comes here for 6 months and snowboards and competes, and then he goes back to the oil fields so he can afford to just live, and or how many times have you seen someone that they just won Dew Tour, and that night they might be out partying, and then the next day they're back waiting a table. The Olympic thing is such a fraud. It's a moneymaker for the IOC and the FIS, but it doesn't do anything for the actual athletes. Going into the Olympics, they have to disacknowledge that they have these sponsors that pay for them, which is bullshit.
That's right.
Thanks, guys, for giving me all this money to get to the Olympics. Now I can't acknowledge that I'm sponsored by you. I have to cover up logos. I have to do this. I have to be taken off your website. It's bullshit. And, I mean, I'm lucky that I can sit here and actually physically say, and no one can say anything to me about this, that fuck the Olympics, fuck Olympic snowboarding, fuck the FIS, fuck the IOC, and I can get away with it. But if you're a rider that's trying to make your name on the contest circuit, you can't. You can't say that. And it sucks. They're not allowed to say that. And that's why, I mean, over the years, how many people have you known that have done the competitive circuit thing that have just burned out and quit snowboarding entirely because it just burns them out? They end up hating what they love and quit.
Yeah, the contests changed a little in that sense. What it meant to be the champ of something, and when it went the Olympic route, what concerns me is, like, I feel like poor Mark, like, he comes out of his, like, hospital, wakes up, and he's like, oh, am I going to be good for the Olympics? Like, who fucking cares? Like, you just are, you should be, you are alive, you're going to snowboard again, and, like, fuck, like, who gives a fuck? But he's got so much pressure on him,
No, and that's the thing.
He wakes up thinking, like, I've got to do that, and...
Well, my thing was, after I had my accident, I was like, I got to go back to work, and I spent 3 months in a bed having to recover.
Right.
A typical splenectomy is a 40-minute procedure. Mine was 9.5 hours of trauma surgery, and he's going to go through that whole same thing. I mean, he's going to come out of this a different person for sure. It really psychologically fucks with you. I mean,
he's a tough motherfucker.
Well, and the thing is that they don't talk about how snowboarders can get PTSD from accidents.
Yeah,
and you look up the symptoms and everything. And I've got a dad that's got PTSD from Vietnam and stuff, and I see what he's been diagnosed with, and I realize there's a couple years that, like, I was psychologically on edge because of everything that happened. Night terrors and things like that. Let alone the chemicals they pump full of you and stuff. So to see where he's going to come out of this going into an Olympic year. I mean, if he makes the Olympics, it's going to be really interesting to see how he does it. But there's the other side of the coin where he could come out of it and go, "I'm done competing." I mean, he's made good money as a snowboarder. He's one of the elite. He's one of the 1%. But he could come out and go and with his brother and go, "I just want to go ride POW." He could go be an ambassador for Burton, stuff like that, and he can live off of his name. He can pull a Terrier and just live off of his name and stuff. So it's really interesting to see how that's going to be.
Man, it's a tough break, and I hope that dude's feeling better. But like his brother said, he heals like a Wolverine. He's like, feeling strong. It's crazy. I mean, if I just watched Candide's movie, where he comes back from injury, and it's in the end all, it's really for nobody but themselves.
Yes, exactly. And you got to do it. And the good thing is he'll have the best doctors. He'll have the best physical therapists.
Yeah, that's true. When we get broke off.
We get broke off. We're like, you're going through your Facebook going, okay, who's a physical therapist? Who's a massage therapist? Who can I bribe? Be like, I'm going to give you a 30-pack for some advice, and but they're on a different level. So
just the scariest thoughts. So think about that if you're ever out.
Yeah,
building kicks with the buddies in the backcountry. It doesn't have to be a big old line and sweep you an avalanche to make a bad day in the backcountry. It can happen fast, you should be ready.
Yeah, just be prepared. Get yourself out there. At least take a first responder course, or be one of those people that when someone hurts themselves, you're not the guy running around screaming, freaking out. I've seen that happen too many times myself. I'm the guy that's like, okay, my elbow is dislocated and it's sticking out 3 inches. I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, you have to call ski patrol. You need to pick up my snowboard and carry it over here. I'm going to sit down. You need to check on me and make sure I'm breathing okay. Yeah. Make sure I'm not turning blue. I need you to help me pull the jet. You gotta be prepared for these contingencies and everything. And it's just one of those things that a lot of people don't think about in snowboarding. So,
but yeah, the Olympics and contests. I mean, people that would hate on contests would be like, well, unless you've been in some, you can't say so.
I did a motocross race once back in the 90s.
But I mean, the Olympics, that's why people get it tatted on their arm, because it's a badge of honor. It's, you are an Olympian.
That's true. I mean, if you're smart with yourself, you can market yourself the rest of your life.
Is snowboarding right for that? I don't know. Not necessarily. I would like to see it not be back there.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm not looking forward to this next year with the run-up to the Olympics, although it will be funny if Fox News reaches out to me to get a quote on something like they did last time. They tried to get me to say something completely inflammatory on Burton because they supplied the
outerwear.
Yeah, the uniforms and everything, because they outsourced them to Japan and different places. And I was like, do you want something made in America that isn't the best, or do you want something that's made the best? And I go, I would want something made the best. But, the guy tried to make it so that they could make an inflammatory piece against Burton and bash him. And I did the right thing. When I got the email from him, I emailed my contacts at Burton and I said, hey, be prepared. This is coming out. I'm going to give him a quote. I'm not throwing you guys under the bus. I'm going to say what I need to say about snowboarding. And they still tried to butcher my quote. They cut a few things out, but they couldn't. I gave them such a tight-knit thing that they couldn't use it. And that article dropped, and surprisingly, the backlash that I got from it for the pro-American people was very, very small. I got one email from a guy, and my response was, do you even fucking snowboard? No, fuck off. I was like, you're a fat fuck from the middle of nowhere that doesn't give a shit. Suck a fart out of my ass. And then I got one guy that was all pro-American made stuff, and I was like...
Dictated, not read.
Yeah,
that's what it says at the bottom of the email. Like, you got somebody typing your emails as you go off on that.
Dictated, not
read. Like, is this guy got somebody writing his angry emails?
Yeah, dude. So, but fuck the Olympics. That's right.
Hey, but I think snowboarding got 2 good winners, like the half-pipe first winner.
Yeah.
Guillaume Morissette.
Yeah.
And Sage are 2 incredible representatives of the soul of snowboarding.
And if you read P3, Todd Richards' book, and what he talks about the Olympics, realistically, Terrier was the best at that time. And I would have loved to have seen him in that. I mean, but you got to do what you got to do. So that's where I'm at with it, with the whole thing. But Mark, heal up, get better, get out there and snowboard and keep killing it. And if you make another video game, make one that doesn't suck.